Hi, Andy Norrington here, independent financial advisor at Sterling & Law, based in Croydon. Today's video is a bit of practical guidance on how to build a successful savings plan. In theory, this should be straightforward, yet so many people fail to do this effectively. As always, my videos are for information purposes only, and this is not financial advice. So I believe there are 4 stages to this process. Number 1 is to work out your expenditure. Take the time to work out how much you spend on utility bills, direct debits, food, clothing, holidays, socialising. Now, in the real world, we do not spend the same amount of money every single month. So do add a small buffer on top, just in case you spend a little bit more. Once you've calculated this figure, it should be simple to compare against your income to work out how much spare money you have per month. It's important you get in the habit of paying yourself at the start of the month, preferably on payday, to avoid the temptation of spending that money. Stage 2 is to build an emergency fund. There's no strict rule on how much this should be, but it's generally advised that it should be equal to at least 3 months worth of income, and it should be in an instantly accessible account. This is to be used for emergencies only, such as replacing a broken boiler, or even worse, finding yourself out of work for a couple of months. Stages 1 and 2 are your foundations. Once these are in place, you can really progress and build onto stages 3 and 4. Stage 3 is identifying what you are saving for and when you're looking to achieve it. The when is particularly important because there is a direct relationship between the time horizon of your savings plan and the amount of risk you can afford to absorb. The general rule is the longer the time period, the more risk you can take, because over a long-term period, the short-term volatility doesn't matter so much. Whereas, of course, with a short-term investment, this volatility can be dangerous because you run the risk of the stock market dipping just before you need your money, and there's no time for markets to recover. A common mistake people make, perhaps those who are a little bit more cautious or nervous towards investing, is that they put their long-term savings in cash because they consider cash to be safe. What they often don't realise is that with interest rates being so low at about 0.2%, if you compare that against inflation, which is the daily increase in living costs, which is about 2.5% per year, the spending power of the cash is gradually reducing by about 2.3% per year. Over a short-term period, that's not so much of a problem, but over 10, 15 or even 20 years, that can be seriously detrimental to your long-term savings. If you are one of those people, I do suggest you look at alternative options. It's important I state that investments can go down as well as up. Stage 4 is making use of your tax allowances. Every individual has a £20,000 ISA allowance. The benefit of an ISA is that all growth is completely tax-free. If you've already used your ISA allowance and you're married, why not consider using your spouse's ISA allowance as well? If you're saving for retirement, do use a pension. Pensions get very generous tax relief on the contributions in, and like an ISA, all growth is completely tax-free. I once met a client who was using an ISA to save for their retirement instead of a pension. The result of this was they missed out on 20 years worth of tax relief on contributions, and the overall result was they're about £100,000 worse off than what they should have been. So that's my tip on how to build a successful savings plan. Hopefully it's been informative and useful. If you need help and would like me to send across an expenditure questionnaire, or you're having difficulty selecting a suitable investment for yourself, I'll be very happy to help you. As always, feel free to comment below or contact me directly. Thanks for listening.